Hello and welcome to our third episode of this podcast. As usual, I am Kevin and I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. This one is going to be a little bit different. I know we're already into our third episode. It's Friday and I've decided to switch things up a little bit. If you're joining me from Spotify, Google Music, or any one of those services, you'll only be able to hear my beautiful voice. But I am actually recording this via some video elements with my GoPro. I'm going to be adding a video component to this podcast just so you can see my beautiful face, give you some audio and visual. I'm going to try to make it like my podcast. I'm going to keep it raw and unedited. But besides that, I'm just going to give you guys another way of listening to my podcast. If you want to see me move my hands, I like to move my hands a lot when I talk. You can catch me on at Kevin Hobie on youtube.com. And check me out there, and this is where it'll hopefully be posted. For those of you that are listening in, though, you'll be glad to know that these podcasts will be out first in the audio format. There does require a little bit of editing for the video component, so to set that all up and push that into the internet and upload. So you'll expect that a little bit later in the weekends, usually because I'm recording this on a Friday. But with that said, thank you so much for joining me, guys, and welcome to
A Mention with Kevin.
All right. Well, today is January 3rd, 2020. And let's kick stuff off right away. We got a couple things in the news, some things to kind of look over. Obviously, we've been keeping track of what has been going on with from our last episode, Iran and the United States. Donald Trump kind of, using a little bit of aggression with tweets and statements that he's saying, and Iran is not taking this so well. We're just hoping that we're going to see some sort of resolution in this conflict. A lot of people are speculating, though, that this is going to blow up and some other actions are going to be taken. This is, of course, due to the fact that one of the generals and I believe a high-ranking Iranian official was killed in an airstrike sanctioned by the U.S. It occurred in a Baghdad airport. We're still getting information kind of rolling in, but yeah, that situation is kind of escalating a little bit more. So it's still kind of blowing up in the media right now, but we're going to keep a close eye and see what else happens. Moving on to some other things that happened today. So, as I am from Canada, wearing a nice yellow coat, staying nice and warm. By the way, guys, I am recording this at my parents' house today. I know it looks a little bit different. I'm spending the holidays here. That's right, the 3rd of January, I'm still at my parents' hanging out. But I'm enjoying some family time here. And then you'll check me back out of my apartment for the next Friday YouTube, I was going to call this a vlog, podcast release. So let's get back into this stuff. As a Canadian, we're talking a little bit more about politics here. A couple weeks ago, we heard that the Conservative Party's leader, Andrew Scheer, stepped down. And with that said, today an announcement was made on behalf of the Conservative Party. It was said the Conservative Party will select its new leader on June 27th in Toronto. And that has been said by the party's Leadership Organization Committee. So it has been said that the committee chose the date based on feedback from party members. He said they said the overwhelming membership consensus favors a quick, efficient, and transparent race to replace Andrew Scheer. And the committee is committed to doing just that. So it's interesting. Within Canada, we have, I would say, almost a two-party system. We usually have the Conservatives or the Liberals in power right now in the federal government. With the provincials, is a little bit different. Right now, it's either the Liberal or the Conservative. Historically, it's either been one of those two parties who's been elected as for the Prime Minister's party. And there are other parties like the NDP or the Green Party, the Bloc Québécois, but of course, those officials have not taken a minority or majority government within our electoral system. And so it's interesting to hear this from the next biggest party, that they're going to kind of decide on who their next member is and who they're going to kind of fight against Justin Trudeau with. So if you're not Canadian, it might be a little confusing. But on to the second piece of news that we're having today on the 3rd. Wildfires continue to rage across Australia, having to prompt one of the largest evacuations in the country's history, as what is already the worst season on record is likely to become even more devastating due to the hot weather and strong winds. So it's said that more than 200 fires were burning, and warnings of extreme danger to come Saturday prompt mass evacuations. Traffic was gridlocked and people fled, and firefighters escorted convoys of evacuees getting together. They even called in the Navy, and Navy ships were called to pluck hundreds of people stranded on beaches to take them to safety. So the premier of the region, Victoria, Daniel Andrews, declared a disaster across much of the eastern part of the state, allowing the governor to order evacuations in an area, and as many as 140,000 permanent residents and tens of thousands of more vacationers. So we're seeing this kind of escalate a little bit more. We'd heard a couple weeks back that actually rainfall had made way onto these areas within Australia, within southern Australia, and that things were calming down. But it seems that they've picked back up, and the hot weather has kind of added fuel to the fire again. So it said last week at least 448 homes have been destroyed in the New South Wales southern coast, and dozens were burned in this area of Victoria. So it's just devastating to see this. We're hoping that more firefighters from the global community will be able to come and help within this situation, and that these fires will eventually be contained and under control so that people won't be losing their houses anymore. The third piece of news that we have in our global January 3rd is that some Chinese health officials actually are trying to identify what is causing an outbreak of a type of pneumonia in the central city of, forgive my pronunciation, Wuhan. Officials say on Friday, as the tally of cases rose to 44, and Singapore said it would screen arrivals of flights from that city. It was also said that they were investigating 27 cases of the infection after rumors on social media suggested the outbreak would be linked to severe acute respiratory syndrome, also known as SARS. The World Health Organization said it was aware of the reports and is monitoring the situation, and it is in contact with the Chinese government about this. Besides that, Chinese municipal health officials in Wuhan said in a statement on their website that they had ruled out common respiratory diseases such as influenza, bird flu, and adenovirus infection as the cause. 11 of those infected were in critical condition, and the rest stable, they said, adding that had been isolated. Doctors were observing 121 people with whom they had been in contact in close proximity to as well. Cleanup efforts at a seafood market where some victims were vendors have been completed, and the city officials added that no obvious human-to-human transmission have been seen, and no medical staff have been infected, which is good news. So just seeing this, they are monitoring this a little bit better. A lot of people had made speculations from what I've been reading in the papers that this could be another SARS. This could have been another SARS kind of situation where the Chinese government was not telling other governments and officials of this outbreak, and so it could have grown into something. But what it seems like, it's in its early stages right now. They're being compliant. Hopefully, the source will be able to be found, and that no more transmission of this disease or this illness, whatever it is at this stage, can be detected. And again, we want this contained for everybody's safety and health. So again, kind of another slow news day, but that's kind of how it is at the first couple of weeks. Next week, I'm hoping that things will kind of pick up a little bit more. We'll see a little bit more about the Democratic election, some more climate change news kind of popping out there. Obviously, this whole thing with Iran, we're going to be hoping that there'll be some more political talk. Some other countries might be able to intervene and kind of, um, arbitrate this a little bit, kind of get in between and help the two countries figure something out. But with that said, I got another fun activity for us on this beautiful night. And that is, I have with me on my little phone. This is also my script that I use. I write all my stuff down on my phone or something like my computer, and I read off of it. But tonight, I have the pleasure of telling you guys the top 20 songs of 2019. I'll give a little bit of my little feedback on what I thought of the songs. A lot of these songs, I'm going to be completely honest, I had not heard about until I read them today. So I might not have a real opinion on them. I'm probably just going to say not really an opinion. But it's interesting. I got these songs from the Billboard Top 100, and this is what they determined for the year of 2019. Their top 20 songs. We're going to start at number 20, and that is Mustard and Migos, Pure Water. Now I know Migos has been pretty active in the pop culture scene, with kind of like, they got some hip hop beats kind of going on and some other kind of like, hype music's kind of sound to them. I have not heard the song Pure Water, so we're going to go on to the next one. Casey Musgrave's Rainbow. Haven't heard of her, so I don't know that. Number 18, which you will all know, Camila Cabello and Shawn Mendes, Senorita. Shawn Mendes obviously being a Canadian icon. He's also from the area that I'm from, which is the region of Durham. This boy is from Pickering, so I have to support him. And Camila Cabello, another Spanish representative. I have to give her props for the kind of work that she's been doing. She's been having a pretty good year with her releases and her songs. So kudos to both of you guys. You're young. There's also been a lot of reports in the news that these two are dating. They're kind of young. It's kind of like in the eye. I think they did that big, the American Music Awards, the AMAs, and they had like this, they sung this song and they kind of got really close and didn't kiss. Crazy. So great job for making the top 20 at number 18. The next one is Halsey. She's always been in the scene kind of with Nightmare. I haven't heard this song. I've heard a couple of her other songs. But number 17, I might have to check it out. Number 16 is Billie Eilish, Bury a Friend. I'm not very familiar with Billie Eilish. I know that she's kind of emerged from the pop scene within the last 1 to 2 years. Very young as well. I heard that her brother does some of her producing, so it's great to see somebody kind of bring her family into the spotlight as well. Number 15 is HAIM, Summer Girl. Can't say I know that. Number 14, which really surprised me, Tyler, the Creator, is kind of back. And he's come back with this song that I have not heard called Earthquake. So kudos to Tyler, the Creator. Seeing you back in the spotlight, my friend. Number 14, I don't know this song. I will have to check it out. I've heard of number 13. Her name is Maggie Rogers. Light On. I believe she is another younger artist. Besides that, I can't tell you anything. So, number 12, Da Baby, SUG, Suge. I couldn't tell you anything about that. Number 11, we got Lana Del Rey, and she sings The Greatest. I've also not heard this song, but I know Lana Del Rey. She did Summertime Sadness, songs like that. Not surprised to see her back into this top 20s. Okay, getting down to the nitty gritty. We're getting into the top 10 now. A little bit of these songs I know a little bit better. Taylor Swift, Cruel Summer. So Taylor Swift, I don't think I've actually heard this song. I know Taylor Swift. She sings a lot of those songs, like she wears short skirts, I wear t-shirts. She's cheer captain and I'm on the bleachers. So yeah, Taylor Swift has always been huge. She's sung multitudes of songs. She's shaken off any bad press about her, and she's always kind of remained on top. So great job, Taylor Swift. Number 10. Number 9, without a surprise, Ariana Grande, another superstar in kind of this new pop age, and she has Break Up With Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored. Now, I'm surprised that this song made it there because I have not heard this song, but I am very, very. I don't know. I like her song Seven Rings. I don't know how else to say it. I think it's different from what that she does usually. The song is a giant flex, which I find very fun. I kind of find it like a satiric. Because like you kind of see like people who don't sing about like flexing and stuff like that. I enjoyed it. I thought that song would make it number 9, but we see her with that. The next one is Vampire Weekend with number 8 and Harmony Hall. I I I when I first read this, I thought it was The Weekend because I know The Weekend released an album just recently, but I guess not. Vampire Weekend, great job. I can't really say I've listened to your songs, but number 8 is great for you. Of course, number 7, Post Malone and Circles. I've heard this song, Post Malone. The video is great where he's dressed as a knight and it's very medieval, but he's singing this song. Very creative. Post Malone, you have to really enjoy the kind of sound that he makes. And with that, I'm just going to leave it to you guys to check out that music video yourselves. Number 6, 21 Savage featuring J. Cole, A Lot. Now, I'm a big fan of J. Cole and 21 Savage. I've not heard this song either. But you know what? I'm going to have to put it on one of my workout J. Cole playlist songs, and kind of check it out and see what it's like. I'm sure that it is a great song. Here is a song that I have heard, though. Number 5, a Rosalia featuring J Balvin and El Guincho con Altura. I've definitely heard this song. J Balvin has been killing it this year, and I'm glad to see him on this list. Unfortunately, this is the only time that I've seen him on the top. He might be a little bit further down, but I know by himself individually. But number 5 is pretty good to have your name up there as well. J Balvin with Rosalia kind of doing that. And this is a great song. She kind of does her song in in an airplane in the music video. It has good rhythm, good beat. You can kind of dance to it a little bit. I love songs that you can dance to. And that Latin, you know what? My Latin background and, knowing how to dance to kind of stuff, getting a little, my hips with the rhythm. I love this song for that. So I really recommend you guys check this one out. Number 4, which I would have expected this to be number 1, just because I think it defined 2019. Lil Nas X featuring Billy Ray Cyrus, Old Town Road. And it's technically the remix because the first one was done just by Lil Nas X. But yes, Old Town Road, hilarious. I have a couple of friends that have kind of given their opinion on this, that maybe this was just a satire, like, let's mix country. It was like a joke. Let's mix country with rap and see what we come out with. So Lil Nas X did that. I think it is a hilarious song. It's catchy. Besides that, the music video is even greater. They got Chris Rock in there. Vince Staples, which I really think he should have made this list. To give you guys a little bit of perspective, Vince Staples is one of my favorite artists. He's a rapper, hip hop. He's from California, South Beach, I think it is. But anyway, besides that, hilarious music video. Lil Nas X, he has appeared in so much in media. He's been very prevalent and up there right now. He also released a song called Panini a little bit later, which was very well received on YouTube. What I saw from the view count and from the production that he had. So great job, Lil Nas X. Really excited to see what type of music you make 2020. Next up, number 3. Obviously, at number 3, everybody has heard this song. Jonas Brothers, Sucker. So this was also the year the Jonas Brothers got back together. Nick Jonas, Joe Jonas, and Kevin Jonas made this song called Sucker. Has a great kind of like piano beat behind it, with a little synth in there. And then you have both Nick and Joe Jonas singing to it. I'm assuming Kevin worked on the beat. But everything in that song it's well put together, and the music video is hilarious as well because all of these young men are now married. I believe Nick Jonas is married to Priyanka. I can't remember her last name, but she's a model from India. One of them is Joe Jonas is married to Sophia Turner, And the last one, Kevin, I cannot remember who his wife is, but they're all married. That is the point. They're all in the music video. Hilarious. Number 2 is also an up-and-coming artist, Lizzo, Truth Hurts. I took a DNA test. Turns out I'm 100% that. Don't want to get demonetized. Yes, Lizzo has made it big this year, and she has been hitting it hard. I've heard this song played everywhere. So congratulations to Lizzo. I believe she started kind of her career on YouTube. I could be saying a load of garbage right now. I have no clue. But the song, catchy. It has kind of a cool, kind of like backtone beat to it. It's very well done. So Lizzo, congratulations. And number 1, I was surprised to see this. This person is on this list from 1 to 20 twice. And I can't believe it's this song because I've heard this song like a couple times maybe. I'm going to be completely honest, guys. Not a big fan. But I didn't say it before, but Billie Eilish, Bad Guy. I believe she also there was a remix done with Justin Bieber. I actually, this is going to sound funny, I enjoyed that one more. Justin Bieber kind of adds a little bit more a dynamic with his voice, the range that he has. He kind of gives it a little bit more spice. I find this song so, what's the word? It's almost boring. Like the voice is just bad guy, bad. Like it's just so monotoned. It's just the beat is pretty good actually. I got to give credit to Billie Eilish's brother. The beat is excellent. I can't enjoy the singing. It might not be for me. I might be too old as being on the cusp of that millennial zoomer. I'm right in between those guys. I'm technically in between. So maybe it's my millennial side that just doesn't understand Billie Eilish. But yeah, that is the winner of 2019's top 100. We did the top 20. And yes. Okay. We are going to finish off this show by talking about New Year's resolutions. So in my last episode, if you guys listened in, I talked a little bit about resolutions that I had for myself. And so I was thinking again, resolutions are very difficult to keep. And so what are some things that I can help you guys with kind of find your way and hold those resolutions? I find giving myself challenges kind of spices up life a little bit. And I enjoy doing this, and I enjoy accomplishing these challenges for myself. I find it makes me a better person, and it makes me a little bit more diverse. So I'm going to try to help you guys with that. Sometimes I fail too, guys, though. So I just want to let you guys know it's okay to kind of drop the ball on a couple of these, but it's always great to kind of reflect on how you can do better and continue to work at it. So before we start with that, I just want to talk about the Times. They released a list called Broken Resolutions that are normally done by individuals. They released this list in 2012. And here are some of the resolutions that a lot of people make, but they tend to break. The first one being lose weight and get fit. The second to be quit smoking. The third, learn something new. The fourth, to eat healthier and diet. The fifth, to get out of debt and save money. The sixth, to spend more time with family. The seventh, to travel to a new place. The eighth, to be less stressed. The ninth, to volunteer. And the 10th, to drink less. I'm assuming that's drinking alcohol. Anyway, with these, a lot of these I don't have problems with. I've never started to smoke, so no need to quit smoking. I also don't drink that much, so drinking less is not a problem. I spend a lot of time with my family, so that might be something that maybe I could discuss on another episode on how to spend a little bit more time with your family. I love to travel. Be less stressed. I could have a full episode on, but the ones that I want to kind of focus on and kind of narrow in are get fit and lose weight, save money, and volunteer. I think those three are some easy tips that I can give you guys on what to do in terms of how to keep consistent with those challenges and those goals. All right, so let's get started with get fit and lose weight. I think the main thing to do is to really regiment yourself and plan properly. So the first thing would to be think about, I think there's two components to losing weight and getting fit, and that is diet and exercise. They go hand in hand and they're so key into getting results. So the first thing I would really suggest, if you're kind of like looking at me right now, I'm wearing a puffy yellow coat, so I don't look that skinny, but I'm pretty thin and lean, and yeah. I didn't used to be like this. I actually had quite a bit of weight to me when I was a preteen, I would say. When I got into my teenage years, I was pretty chubby and husky. But I would say as I kind of got closer to the age of 18, I started to slim down a little bit. I started to change my diet and change my way of exercising when I got into college. And I really leaned out because of this. But I would say one of the things that really helped me in college and right now in my life, that has been kind of a major tool at losing weight and keeping a healthy weight and maintaining that, is counting my calories. So looking at this, I'm somebody who is very math orientated. I love using numbers, statistics, and using that to kind of measure. It doesn't have to measure success, but measure results. And so calorie counting is something that I see something very scientific. Understanding how much your body needs right now to sustain itself, and how many calories you can use to be at a deficit so that you could lose weight and shed some extra pounds without losing muscle. So I'll kind of go into that a little bit later. But first of all, you need to find a calorie counter. And there's some great ones on some sites that you can check out online. I don't have any on the top of my head. But if I do another episode on this, I will, of course, link it down in the bottom. But find something like that and determine how many calories you require to sustain and to keep and maintain the weight that you're at now. With that, you will also find with these calculators how much calories you need to kind of lose some weight or gain it if that's what you're kind of looking for to be healthier. So I think calorie counting, definitely number one, and understanding how much calories are in within different foods. I did a lot of research into sweet potatoes, how many calories those have. I eat a lot of fruits, and different calories within, let's say, bread or rice or things like that, and the quantities within a cup or with 100 grams, things like that. I would say that is the first step to kind of figuring out your diet. The second step, I would say, is looking at your diet. What are you putting into your body? Are you putting a lot of grease and fat into it, and animal fat specifically? Are you eating a lot of carbs? Are you eating too much cheese? Things like that. Look at what a healthy diet consists of. Mainly, I would say most of your diet should consist of fruits and vegetables. So are you getting enough of those? And are you eating too much processed foods and things like that? If I could recommend a diet, I would recommend a more plant-based diet. If you're just starting out, try a Mediterranean diet. Just look it up on Google. There's a lot of examples on there. But trying to work towards a plant-based diet where you're eating more fruits and vegetables and you're gaining your nutrients and the different minerals that you require in your diet, like iron, calcium, in the greens that you eat, such as broccoli and spinach, Brussels sprouts, things like that. And so I would really look into your diet. Moving on, I would say consistent exercise would be kind of my third next tip into this. When you're doing exercises, it's important that you stay committed to doing something weekly, and that you're not going to give up on it quickly, and that it's easy to kind of maintain. So something I would kind of suggest is have an activity where you want to be fit for it and make that your goal. So for me, I personally love to play basketball. Basketball is a huge part of what is a passion for me. So I love to work out in order that I can perform better on the basketball court. So do something for you in that regard. If it's a sport, do it for sport. If it's dance, do it for dance. Do it for, I'm trying to think of other things. Maybe you want to perform a marathon one day. Maybe you really love swimming. Maybe it's something else. For me, it's performance reasons. And I find that's really motivated me to continue to go to the gym. So I go to the gym at least 3 times a week if I can. And I have a regimen where I do a little bit of cardio and I do a lot of weightlifting and things like that in order that I can perform better on the basketball court, because I want to do well by my team and I want to do well for myself, so that I feel like, I don't know, I feel better when I play better, when I'm doing better at basketball. So give yourself a goal in mind, I would say. Look for something that'll keep you motivated. So you're saying, why am I going to the gym 3 times a day? If you're just going for the looks, I really think, and I really believe, it's not a strong enough reason to keep you committed to going. A lot of people want to do that, and a lot of people want to look thinner, and maybe feeling is also another motivation that isn't that strong. I know it can be, because when you feel better, you tend to want to encourage that habit, but unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't always stick. I would say get something like, I don't know, like a league that you're in, that you're passionate about, and use that to drive yourself. And with that, I would say also make it something that you like doing. So if you like staying consistent with exercise, I would say do that same thing with your diet. If you like certain green vegetables, but you don't like, let's say you like spinach, but you don't like Brussels sprouts, don't force yourself to have Brussels sprouts. Continue to eat spinach and incorporate different ways to kind of put spinach into your diet. If you want to cook it, if you want to steam it, if you want to eat it raw and put it into smoothies, things like that. Try to make things enjoyable for you. Personalize it to you, so that being healthy and living in a healthy lifestyle is easy for you, and it's not something that you're forcing you to do just so that you look better. And it's something vain like that. And with that, I think that's where I'll end it for our get fit and lose weight tips. I'll kind of come back to it a little bit later, probably in my podcast, a little bit later down the line. But for now, we're going to stop there and go to the next thing, which is saving money. So everybody obviously wants to save money. And the thing that we have to understand is how much money we're spending already, and in what capacity can we analyze kind of our data and see what our spending habits are like and where we can improve on those. So the first thing that I would say is, if you don't already have this, immediately start this budget. So I will link you down below to a spreadsheet that I use, that I've started to use from the past year, that is completely about how to make your own kind of budget sheet. It's already set out. You can add in your own tabs and your own expenses, but it's to track how much you are spending within the month, and it's a month-to-month kind of ratio. And you can kind of use that to analyze how much money you're saving and how much money you are wasting on certain things. And I find at the end of the month, plugging in all this data into your spreadsheet really allows you to analyze your spending habits very carefully. And with that, you could also set goals for yourself in saving habits and stuff like that, like how much you want to save and why you want to save, which is great. So I love kind of using a budget spreadsheet, and I'd really recommend that as the first tip to saving money. The second tip I would give is find cheaper activities. So when you're spending time with your friends, a significant other, or family, we tend to spend a lot of money. We spend to do things that require money, and obviously this is how business is driven, with services such as like mini putting or amusement parks, swimming pools, stuff like that. But there are activities that you can do that don't necessarily rely on spending money. One of those things I really enjoy that doesn't require any money is D&D. A lot of those resources are online on the Dungeons and Dragons website from Wizards of the Coast. You don't necessarily need figurines. I've purchased some. They don't have to be too expensive, but I've gotten some. And a lot of the character sheets and the resources are online, so I really just needed to print them, which I technically would cost a little bit of money because I'm printing them. But besides that, once I have all that stuff, which is fairly cheap, I can play the game with friends, and it just requires time at that point, and time to design the game and to play it. So I would say find activities that don't necessarily require a lot of money to do. Other things are starting a book club and getting together with some friends and talking about that, or going out and just grabbing a basketball and playing basketball outside. Obviously, in Canada, when it's the colder months, you can't do stuff like that, but figuring out activities that don't necessarily require you spending some money and telling your friends, hey, I want to save up for whatever goal you have in mind, if that be a trip, if that be for tuition down the future, if that's for a house, hey, can we do something else to save money? And I'm sure your friends would completely understand that. My third tip is finding alternative ways to save money. So this kind of goes hand in hand with your budget, because the first thing that you kind of need to do is analyze, where can I save money? A good example that I can think about is I used to love to go to coffee shops. When I first moved to Toronto, I loved to get great tasting coffee and really enjoy myself with them and enjoy myself with friends. But with that, I analyzed how much I was spending on coffee and realized that I really need to check this expense, and was there a possibility in finding an alternative that would allow me to enjoy coffee but not spend so much at coffee shops. So I came up with the idea of actually brewing coffee myself, purchasing the beans. I actually had a friend who had who works at a franchised place that allows the purchase of beans and grinds them for me. So she's providing me with the grinds, and I learned how to French press my coffee in a way that I like. And it's a lot of fun, actually. I've made this kind of into a hobby, into enjoying good tasting coffee and kind of mixing with those ratios and finding the perfect balance of what grind I need, at how much water I need within the French press, how long I should let it sit for, and what should I add to the coffee, or if there's anything like salt or anything like that, which I've really come to enjoy. And I spend a lot less on coffee and going out now. So I would say that is a great tip to look at, but you need a budget in order to check the alternatives. And I'll end with my tips on saving money there. And my last tip of the evening is for volunteering. So volunteering, I've done actually quite a bit of volunteering in the past 2019. I'd like to do a little bit more, but I'd like to do a little bit more of constructive, where I'm building off of one form of volunteering. So within my volunteering last year, I actually volunteered for a political party, which was very fun. It was very different from some of the other volunteering that I've experienced in the past, just because of how it was organized and the kind of tasks that we would do. In doing so, though, have in mind that if you want to find a political party to volunteer for, that you will be spending a lot of time when they're canvassing, if a campaign is going on and an election is coming soon. So be prepared that they will ask for a lot of your time in order to be a resource for the election time, and that you have to commit yourself quite a lot to the political party. It isn't like a one shot, you can kind of just go in and then leave. They kind of want you to kind of help out a little bit more. So I would say be careful with that facet, but that is an excellent option if you are very passionate about politics and even want to get into politics yourself. The second thing I would kind of look into is getting into another organization, like a church. So I'm part of a church myself. I find that this facet is great because I have a great relationship with the leadership of the church that we work with, and the community that our church is located in is excellent for serving, and they're always finding opportunities to providing funds or needs met to people and organizing this in a great way. And it's a little bit better because they kind of allow a variety of volunteering. So it's like sometimes they require volunteers for certain times. So just like a one-time kind of thing where we do kind of deliveries of food to people in need. Or there's other times that I can be volunteering every church service by doing something like audio and visual, something of that facet. So I find that great because you can kind of choose between the two, and you kind of build a greater relationship with a community that you're already part of. You could also find another charitable organization and work for those people. That is also another great idea. Red Cross, or you can find the Salvation Army, another charitable organization like that, World Vision, something like that. There are other organizations that you could probably find some opportunities to build community and really dedicate your time to helping those in need. So I would really recommend, if you're going to do this, you need to take the first steps into initiating volunteering. When I went to see this political party, I took the first steps by saying, hey, in what facet do you guys require volunteering services? What are your needs? And I did a little bit of social media and data management kind of volunteering roles for them. Same thing happens for the church. I have a relationship with the pastor, and I told him, hey, I have kind of a liking to technology, and I really enjoy sound editing and doing podcasts. Is it possible that I could do some volunteering with the sound and visual for church services? And it was through doing that I was able to find some time and really get a good opportunity to volunteer within my church. So I would say take that first initiative and just be consistent with following that up and realizing that it's a really effective time that you're giving to those organizations, and don't see it as time wasted, but time that is building you up and building up the community. I actually see it as the most productive time that I get within my week sometime. So really see it as an amazing positive, and just be really consistent with following up on that. All right, guys. I think that is going to end tonight's podcast. I just wanted to thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode number 3. It has been great to talk to you guys and kind of use this video format. We'll see how it looks. I'm kind of concerned because the lighting might be a little bit different here. I got a new yellow coat going on. I don't know if that's going to throw off my groove. And if me kind of being filmed has kind of changed how I'm recording myself. But I've really enjoyed this. If you guys could leave any comments or questions that you have for me, I would love to hear them. Remember, my Twitter handle is @Kevin_Hobie. You can check that out in the description again. And as always, guys, don't forget to brush your teeth and floss. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.